See, let's look at this, ladies and gentlemen. What it is and when to use it. This is very, very important for all of you. How are we going to use, what is SWOT analysis? Where does it, what are the components? How does it exist? And when do you use it? It's very important that you understand this. Remember, you can even use it for your own self. All of you, when you all get back home today, just take a piece of paper, keep it to yourself, don't have to show it to anyone. Write down, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses? Do I really have these weaknesses? What are the threats I have? I usually tell even my doctoral students to take this and go and sit at home, look at this, analyze yourself and see where you are. What are your difficulties? So once you know that, then you see automatically you can start converting them. And you will think all very simple things that you all have. And the simple things can be overcome. The only thing that is, do you want it or you don't want it? That's all. If you want it, convert it into a weakness. Convert your weakness into a strength. And the moment you convert it, you see resources coming in to help you. Alright? But for some, it will take a little time because of a lot of psychological elements in our system. I don't want to go into that, but I would like you to now look at the analysis, what it is and when to use it. To run a successful business, ladies and gentlemen, I repeat it. To run a successful business, even to use the word run, is wrong. I put the word run to make everybody understand. Actually, you don't run a business. What do? You operate a business. Okay? Please use the word operate. O-P-E-R-A-T. You can use these notes for yourself, right? This is all for you. You can use it. Use it and make sure you be a better person. Analyze your processes to ensure you're operating as efficiently as possible. Look at this one word, ladies and gentlemen, the word is efficiency. What is efficiency in a business? Efficiency in a business are only a few things. Number one, delivery on time, creating the trust in your customer, making sure your costing and your pricing is not too high, not too low. You are managing yourself because you are exchanging something. When you exchange something, you have to make sure you have a profit because you have to survive. So make sure about that and ensure that when I say create a trust, you know your product and make sure that your customer receives what is stated in the product. That is what we say, trust and believe. Okay? So remember, efficiently, right? The lower the cost, the higher the profit. That's accounting principle. The higher the cost, the lower your profits. Right? So how will you maintain your products or your cost at a lower level? Ensure that you don't waste things. The higher your waste, the higher your cost. The lower your waste, the lower your cost. This is why this simple analytical tool is the one that is very, very important in the element of business. While there are numerous ways to assess your company, the most effective method is to conduct a SWOT analysis. Remember that. And a SWOT analysis is the one that tells you, remember what is a SWOT? The next line tells you a SWOT. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Analysis is a planning process. Planning. Planning means what? What do you understand by the word planning?
After identifying food scenario, then we can plan in such a way.
Yeah, what is planning?
After analyze, we can get the right.
Yeah, what do you mean by the word planning? What is the basic element of planning?
To execute our business in the right path.
You are right, madam, but the one word which is very important.
Structure.
In order to execute your business, what have you to do?
Structure.
You have to set your directions. Where do you want to go? How do you want to go? When do you want to go? Where will you go? Right? So when you want your directions, make sure you set your directions effectively. That is planning. When you want to go, alright, what should I do? How could I do it? What are the elements that I want to look at? What are the elements my customers are looking at? Second one, what is the cost that I am going to give? How much am I getting? What is my carrying cost? How much? How long? Expiring dates. Food products, are they genuine? Are they what the labels claim? All these are the ones that you are going to analyze your planning. Where do you want to start your business? Many businesses that were started some time ago are failures today. In Malaysia today, ladies and gentlemen, the rubber business has failed. Why has it failed? It has failed simply because it took a longer period of time for the fruit, for the trees to mature and the product to come. Because in rubber it takes about 7 years for the tree to mature. Whereas in palm oil it just takes about 3 years, 4 years, the fruits are already there. So you see there was a tremendous agricultural shift that took place in the 70s into the palm oil. But today, look at palm oil. The price of palm oil is already shooting up. And today's information is that the palm oil prices are further going to shoot up, and we are going to have a lot of difficulties in finding cooking oil because the raw products are all being found for use somewhere else. So this is what has happened. It has appeared in today's news. The Reuters are carrying the news today. Let me see whether I can still get it for you. I'll show you what is the headlines talking about. And it is going into sorry, we're going to somewhere else now. I'll try and get things. It takes a little time. So here you see, we are already having a shortage. And I think you all have read in the papers that we are finding there is a shortage of cooking oil now. We are having 1 kilogram, 1 liter and 2 liter bottles are not available. We are going to face that problem. It's going to come. It is continuous, going to be continuous because they are now found use of palm oil in biodiesel. So they are going to mix palm oil with diesel. About 30% of palm oil is going to be mixed with diesel oil. So environment friendly products. See the change that's happening. So who is going to pay? Now we have to look at alternatives. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. That is why we say it's impossible for you to map the future of any business without your effective planning. And whenever you plan, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you have to understand where you want to be and when you want to be. Right? Unless and until exhaustive look at internal and external resources. Right? Malaysia is a palm oil producing country. So is Australia, so is Indonesia. Right? Indonesian government has already come out with an order that 30% of palm oil production will have to go into biodiesel. Malaysian palm oil prices are already at the top at about $4,000, $5,000 dollars per ton of raw oil. So when you are going to convert this into edible purposes, look at the cost that's going to come in. So you are no more going to get 1 liter or 2 liter bottles because the cost is going to go high. You will see that coming because we know what's going. That's why we say external and internal. So where does it refer to? Right? Your strength, weaknesses, and when should you perform? Your next line gives you. Right, are there any questions that you want to ask until now that I have done? Whatever material that has been covered for you, is there anything that you want me to answer for you? I am ready to answer. Are there any questions? Don't feel frightened, don't feel shy. You can ask me any number of questions. I will try to answer as much as I can for you. Any questions? The more the questions, the happier I am. The less the questions, the more sad I become. So, any questions? Don't worry, you can ask me any questions related to the subject matter we are in. Young lady, any questions? You don't ask me, then I'm going to ask you. Any questions? No? Everybody ask. Young man? Any questions? Sure? What about you? No? You? No? Right. Okay. So I believe that you all have understood what I have been. What about you? Do you have any questions? Sure? Right. Okay. We move on. Before you, we see that when should you perform? And when here, actually the word when, what does it tell you? What does when actually mean? We use this word when very frequently, isn't it? When, what do we use? When do we, what is the meaning of the word when? What does it tell you?
When problem comes.
When problem comes? No, what does the word when? When mean? When always tells us a story. What is when?
Timing. Time.
When is always time related. Alright, so here we are, instead of using the term, which time should we use? We have used the word when. So when will always relate to time. And when we say it relates to time, you must very clearly understand what are we talking here. Or what is this training all about? You look at the first line. Before you commit to any sort of action, before you commit any sort of action, your organization, yourself, whatever it is, Coming in, sir?
Yeah, coming in.
Yeah. Right? So here you look at this. So when you must carry it out, when it's wise to perform a general SWOT analysis to look at the current landscape. Landscape of what? Landscape of the environment in which the business is going to be operated. What sort of environment are you going to operate your business? What sort of environment are you going to start your work? What sort of environment? Is it good? Is it satisfactory? Are you happy? Etc. comes in here. Right? Why do you do it? Your business, so you can improve your business operations as needed. The analysis can show you the key areas your organization is performing optimally. Optimal means high. How well is your organization performing currently? Where is it? How effectively is it performing? Are there any changes that are required? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, strengths and weaknesses are related to what? Are they internal or external?
Internal.
They are internal. Strength and weaknesses are internal. Opportunities and threats are external, outside. Right? So you have to be very careful when you do your analysis. Remember, I have very clearly stated from the beginning that this has got a psychological effect and it is related to people. SWOT. Because when you are looking at your analysis, an organization is made up of people. And when you are going to carry out your organization, and when you are doing your weakness analysis, don't cover the weaknesses. Expose the weaknesses. The more you expose the weaknesses, the more strong your organization becomes. Because all internal elements can be converted into whatever your requirements are. External elements you will not have the capacity to convert them. Whereas internal is under your control. Right? So ladies and gentlemen, be very careful about this. Alright? Look at point number 2. By taking time to put together a formal SWOT analysis, you can see the whole picture of your business, your entire business. How is it doing? How well is it performing? Right? From there, you can discover ways to improve or eliminate your company's weaknesses. Right? Whenever you do your analysis, ladies and gentlemen, do not look at strengths. It's already there. Do not look at it. Look at your weaknesses. Do not look at opportunities externally. Look at your threats. Opportunities are already there. How are you going to capitalize on that opportunities? We'll tell you from your threats. And many people and many managers, many owners of organizations have failed to accept this. And they have paid a price for it. Right? Today there are few companies that are paying a price because they analyze the entire thing on strengths only. And some of them are waiting for big rocks to come. You will hear that very shortly. Some of them are very big names. And they are doing very, very badly. One or two organizations in Malaysia, they see that there are only out of 200 employees, they are now having only 10. They are having only 10 people because they live and they were beating their chest and saying, we are the biggest, we are the greatest, nobody can be greater than us. What happened? Environment, slight change happened in the environment. Entire organizational failure started. People started leaving the organization. They couldn't afford to pay the salaries. Today they have got only 10 people, and who are they? All of the relatives of the top owners of the business. Some of the factories have already closed down, right? They had a number of factories in Singapore, some of them have already closed down, in Negri they are closing down. Information is just coming in like that. So we will wait and see how this place perform. Right? Improve to eliminate your company's weaknesses and capitalize. Accept the weakness, ladies and gentlemen, and capitalize. Change your weaknesses and accept it. The moment you accept it, you get a solution. The moment you fight with it, you won't get a solution. So the best way to solve a problem is accept that you have a weakness. The moment you accept it, you are able to get a solution. Right? Or talk to your friends, talk to your seniors, talk to your lecturers, talk to your guide, talk to your parents. Somebody will give you a solution. Remember that. Is that clear? You see, for a business owner, should certainly be involved in creating. So the owners, even you see, for example, I think the boss here knows, Mr. Senior people will know. You know, Genting Islands, you all have heard. The gentleman there who owned the Genting Islands is Uncle Lim, right? He is no more. That gentleman was educated only till standard 6. Do you know that? He couldn't even talk good Bahasa. Right? But he had an idea with him. And that was solid ideas that he had. The Prime Minister of the country then was the first Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman Putra. Al-Haji is no more, right? The father of Merdeka. And this man was given a contract to lay pipelines to the east coast state of Pahang, especially Bentong. From Kuala Lumpur, pipelines to carry water, or from Bentong to carry water to KL. So he was given the contract. And the Prime Minister was visiting that area that at that time. This was somewhere in the 1950s or 60s, somewhere after 1957. I think it was 1960 or so. So the Prime Minister was coming, work was going on, and the Prime Minister wanted to meet the man who is doing the job. And the man who was doing the job was this Uncle Lim Gotong. And he had his own heavy machine JCB and all that. So the Prime Minister was coming to a place called Bentong in Pahang, which is near KL. He wanted to see this contractor. So the district officer and all the top people came, called this man. So they wanted to have a conversation. So Uncle Lim Gotong asked to go in Bahasa, It seems the people who were there, they have written a book about, you kasih saya itu bukit, lagi 2 tahun habis, you tengok itu bukit apa macam. That's all he said, because he is not educated. He couldn't tell the Prime Minister what he wanted. Actually, he was having an idea of a casino. Right? So the Tunku, with this mind, he went back to the Prime Minister's department. He called these people, then he called this man, talked to the Chinese ministers to find out what he actually wants. So he talked, and that is how the Genting Islands, what you see today, has come out of one element. The element that casino, bringing in the economic, although there was a lot of opposition towards it, Tunku gave the land, the hill, what Genting is, to Uncle Lim Gotong to develop it. And he developed it. And do you know, at one stage, people used to bring bags of money to Kuala Lumpur International Airport, not this was in Subang then. They used to land and there will be helicopter services waiting for them to be carried to Genting. The hotels and all that were built. I don't know if whether you are aware of it. Are you? Yes. A lot of this was taking place. A lot of write-ups, and you can read about it. So imagine how that man was only educated, but he had a vision. He had actually what he wanted. That is why when you plan, the timing is important. Look at the last sentence there. The collective knowledge of the team will allow you to adequately analyze your business from all areas. Mr. Lim Gautam was already having this idea of a casino, and it was only just developing. The element of the word casino was, gambling was only there. He had this, but look at how much that Genting have contributed to the economy of the country. Although there were a lot of opposition from a lot of people, the Prime Minister made a decision, he gave it to him. Look where Genting Highlands is today. That is what analysis can do, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Moving on. Now, shall we have a small break? I think the time now is about 11:40.
12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes,
Next one. Now, the word purpose. What does the word purpose mean? What does the word purpose mean?
Need.
Yes?
Need.
Need. Purpose is actually, purpose gives you something. Purpose means result. What is the result of doing a SWOT analysis? Look at that. The purpose, the result. What do you get? The strength, the purpose of strength, weakness and opportunity, threats. Framework is to get managers thinking about everything that could possibly impact your business. Right? Impact your business, the success of the new project. You have to get some form of result, isn't it? You have to make sure what is the purpose you are doing it, because you are going to invest money. From where are you going to get that money? How much of interest are you going to pay? How well will your business go on? You look at this next line, please. Failure to consider key strength, weaknesses, threat, opportunity could lead to poor business decisions. Especially if you start capitalizing only on two elements. One, your strength. Two, your opportunities. If you are only going to capitalize, I repeat, ladies and gentlemen, because this has happened to a number of the businesses that we have seen that have failed over the years, mainly because they capitalized only on strength. As I said, the psychological impact of the human factor. Right? Oh, we have got no weakness here. Weaknesses are born with human beings. And we fail to accept it. The more we are able to accept it, the more we will be able to understand where our strengths are. Okay? So for existing business, the SWOT metrics will be perspective about your business, valuable information, internal and external factors, because internal factors are well within your control. External factors lie without your control. They lie outside your control. Right? But one change in the external factor will make you change a lot of your businesses internally. So you have to be aware of what's happening and you must be prepared internally. If you don't change, change will change you. That is very dangerous. When change changes you, that is going to be very dangerous. Right? So, allow you to access the health of your business. How is your company doing? Have you have a proper accounting system? Not the traditional accounting systems that are existing. Do you have a proper existing system? Do you have proper banking facilities? Do you have a registered business? Do you have a license in the first place? Ladies and gentlemen, today we are even hearing some multi-global businesses, multi-million global businesses who are working on expired licenses. Remember that. And failure is imminent. So, your team share the insights and the role. That is why your management meetings are very, very important. Okay? Framework, updating your plans, your strategic plans. Strategy means the future, the long-term plans. What are you going to do? Right? And for the new businesses, SWOT metrics highlights the benefits of your proposed business. What is your business? How are you going to do it? Valuable information is internal and external factors, right, on your analysis. Valuable information. Whatever information you have gathered, however you have got it. And define, look at the last, ladies and gentlemen. The success or failure of your business begins with this. How to define your company's weakness. How are you going to define it? Are you going to accept it? Are you willing, are the bosses willing to accept it? Are investors willing to accept it? Where your weaknesses are? Right? And the major failure for all businesses of unaccepted weakness is the element of waste. The higher the waste, the lower your profits. So why does this is a $1 million question which managers fail to answer, because waste is the biggest positive agent of loss. Okay? How much is being wasted? How much is your resource? How much of resources are being wasted? To give you an example here, if you look at quality of production, if you look at the quality of material, and if you follow all the prospects of your production process, you see the number of rejects are becoming less, or absolutely no rejects, it's all run through. You're already using your raw materials efficiently and effectively. But if you have to get rejects and you have to reassess or redo your production process again, look at the waste that has happened. Right? Look at the waste in human resources. Look at the waste in raw materials. Look at the waste in utilities. All this adds up to a cost. And when you add it up to a cost, and when you are finally able to sell your product, is that product able to recoup the losses that you have incurred? So that is why it's very important that you check your processes. You make sure that you continue with it. Right? Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, you see that we have got the next thing coming. Here we are doing an analysis, a character analysis, characteristic analysis. What is a characteristic? Why the element should be done and how should it be done? Right? As SWOT analysis focuses on 4 elements of the acronym, allowing companies to identify forces influencing action, or why you have to carry out some form of action. Why do you do it? What is the purpose behind it? Look at that. Positive and negative elements help customers more effectively to communicate what parts of a plan needed to be recognized. How are we going to recognize what are the elements? Because today, for example, the younger generation that you all are, there are two things here you have to bear in mind. The younger generation's needs are changing. Have you understood what their changes are? Have you understood what the needs of the younger generation are? Are you able to provide to the needs of the younger generation today? The younger generation of today are more technically orientated people. Right? Well, I'll give you an example here. What made Apple iPhone a success? Can you tell me? There are 6 elements that make Apple iPhone a success. What were the 6 elements? Can you tell me?
User friendly.
Yes.
User friendly.
User friendly, yes. But before we say user friendly, ladies and gentlemen, madam, you must understand. In order to make a product successful, the most important element that you have to look for is, for whom is that product? Who are going to be the users of that product? See, what happened was, the mobile industry, was growing. Right? And the leaders of the mobile industry at that time were who? Can you tell me, any one of you?
Nokia.
Yes? Yeah.
Nokia.
Yeah, Nokia. Nokia was leading. And Nokia were beating their chest. Remember I told you that I don't want to do this, I don't want to change. Nokia never wanted to change their attitude. This was the attitude problem. This was a weakness that Nokia had. Why? They were living on the Himalayan mountain thinking that we are the greatest and nobody is there to beat. But they forgot that there is a generation of younger people coming out who are technically orientated people and they require something which they didn't find in your product. And the late Mr. what's his name? Huh?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. He had an up and down situation. He founded his own company. He was thrown out of his own company, was sacked. Then when the company was going down, they brought him back. Right? When they brought him back, he had already this idea in providing something for this younger generation of 21 to 27 years of age. Who are these people? Technically educated, technically oriented, information technology knowledgeable, and so many other factors were there. They are financially stable, high income earners, but there were no products that were there to meet their needs other than Nokia and other products. So this man thought, what? He will bring in a product which has got so many technical features. Okay? The first thing he introduced was, you are able to read your newspaper or news in the mobile phone. Right? He introduced that. Number 2, he introduced in the same mobile phone receiving emails, which are not there in Nokia. And he introduced certain other things which are IT related, which are many people didn't know at that time. And these IT people, and what happened was that they started, and the phone was tested, and he found that the phone was functional, effective, that it has got all those things what was required. They came in. Mobile applications. And it became very, very friendly. With this iPhone 1, when iPhone 2, and iPhone came in only for about 3 or 4 months, after that it went off. Then came iPhone 2. In iPhone 2, what happened was that he brought in more IT features. And what he did was, he made sure you people don't have to go and stand in the bank and queue up and all that. He brought all the transfers, money, and all that into the Android phone, to the iPhone. Cut your time, you say, and you are able to control situations. And within 1.5 to 2 years of the iPhone coming in, what happened to Nokia? Within 3 years after iPhone came out, Nokia failed. Nokia had folded, and Nokia had to get out of the market. And the other thing that came was, along with it came Samsung and all that with Android phones. These iPhones had their own system. The other phones, smartphones or whatever they got. So 2 systems of phones started coming in, and that is what they existing today, right? And iPhone has gone right up to 7. iPhone 7, 16 I think. 16. The 17th one is coming. More added features are going to come in. But along with it, the cost is also going up. So remember that. Why has that come? You see, understanding what your customers want. And the more you understand what the customers want, look at point number 4. Once you have identified your risk, you can decide whether it is appropriate to eliminate the internal weaknesses. And this was what happened for Mr. Steve Jobs. It was continuous work, finally he got cancer. He had pancreatic cancer and he had to leave the organization. That's his personal decision. But he eliminated and he gave the framework for the iPhone until iPhone number 20, it seems. The framework is already there. So you see, every 1 year, 1.5 years once, iPhone is coming out with a lot of these phones. New features, new elements are coming in. Today, as you walk, you can receive news. So this is the one how it was revolutionized. So understand what your customers want, where it is, and how are you going to do. If you keep on and on like trying to be too stubborn, like Nokia, and Nokia was the leader, and they had all the opportunities in a changing environment, but they didn't want to capitalize on that. So when they did capitalize, they finally failed. Is that clear? So when do you use it? Remember, look at point number 3. Pairing external threats with the internal weaknesses can highlight the most serious issues. Right? And remember, Nokia's business was, their core business was not mobile phones, you know that? You know what was Nokia's core business? Nokia's core business was in the rubber industry. And then they went into the wood industry. And this is by chance that the mobile phone thing they came. And one of the owners of Nokia, when he was on a holiday somewhere, someone talked to him about mobile phone. That is how he capitalized, because there was nobody else. And they were the only people who were having that amount of capital then in the European countries. And remember, Nokia is from Finland, right? Yeah.
Finland.
That's how they capitalized on it. And it became a global brand very shortly, because at that time everybody wanted to know a mobile. As you are walking, you are receiving phone. And it was becoming small. And you were able to handle it. So it was not the big phones of those days where you were carrying it and going out and then, in your car, and it was like a home telephone. That day, the early days when there was no mobile phone, it was only carrying the big phones in your car, and you use that for communicating. But today you have got this, you put it in your handbag or put it in the back of your pocket, you carry it wherever you want. So you see how it gave rise to, right? And look at point number 4. Once you have identified your risks, exactly what Mr. Steve Jobs did. You decide whether it is most appropriate to eliminate internal weaknesses, and he was very strict. Mr. Steve Jobs was a very strict man whenever it came to his products, and he wouldn't hesitate to terminate engineers whom he employed if they don't perform to his requirements. And he did that to a group of engineers who were demanding too much from him. He just sacked them overnight. So that is what he eliminated the weaknesses which were shaking the organization. Right? Assigning company to fix the problems. So he fixed the problems and he eliminated those who are not performing because he was very time-based person. And because of the stress, he finally paid the price for it. He was a very time-based man. He wanted things to be done. It was his way and nobody else. Right? That is how he made Apple a great success, and the company is still existing even today after he is no more. Right? It has undergone a lot of changes, and it is still, because by each, I understand that every month once, the top management of the company meets and they carry out this SWOT analysis every month. And it is not carried out just because you like me and I like you. No. The second line or third line managers, they have to do their presentations. The first line managers will have to do. So supervisory, departmental heads and the top management, you have to make sure that they are able, it oscillates. And they are not interested in listening to, it's in the top management in this iPhone organization. They are not interested in listening to your stories of strength and this. They said, don't talk of opportunities, we know what opportunities. What are your threats? What are your weaknesses? And it doesn't go for one day, it's in the analysis goes on for 3 days. 72 hours of analysis every month. And that is why now they have decided to bring production from America to Asia. So they are shifting their production. I don't know whether they have already started. I'm not in touch for a little while. So remember that, ladies and gentlemen. It keeps on, right? So if we can do it, if others can do it, we can do it. It's only thing we have to sit and we have to work. Right? Moving on. Look at your internal factors. This is your internal factors are made up of 2 elements. And what are these 2 elements that you see before you? They are your strength and your weaknesses. So strength and weaknesses are within your control. I have told you this, right? I'm bringing it towards the last so that you can see what it means, right? Yes. So strength and weaknesses refer to internal factors. What are they? Resources and experience available to you, right? From where do you get this information? We have gone to the extent of doing a lot of work on this, and you see the elements, all these are your internal sources. Number 1, they say financial resources. Means funding, income, investment, amount of debt owed, amount what is required, which part, where are our clients, who are our clients, where are they situated, who are our buyers, which markets are we serving. All that will come from your resources, financial resources. Your physical resources, location, equipment, where are you situated? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you an example of a company here in physical resources. How that company failed. One very wrong decision. That company is an overseas company that came to Malaysia. This was in somewhere in the 1980s. They came to Malaysia, they carried out an investment, and they were export-oriented company. So when you are exporting things, where will you normally have your company? Where will you normally, when you are exporting, where do you normally have your company? Where will you situate your company? Where?
Near to the airport.
Near to the ports, whether seaport or usually it's near the seaport. This company established a factory which was 120 kilometers away from the nearest port. And the nearest port was Portland. 120 kilometers. So if you want to send your products after finishing to Portland, your products have to travel 120 kilometers. What will be the cost? You have to pay for your transportation. You have to pay for all customs duty, etc., etc. And your products were overpriced. Within 2 years after the factory started, they closed down the factory. So, ladies and gentlemen, why I am telling you this is the physical resources. Where are you situated? Where is your location? Where are your facilities? What sort of equipment are you having? Right? I can give you our own experiences that we have had. When wrong equipment was brought, where we couldn't use the equipment. Until then, the investors, although there were other equipment that was used, what we finally wanted, they had to find capital for that, go to the banks, get extra money and bring in new machinery. Because at the time when they established their business, the equipment was old. And at that time only that sort of equipment was available. But things started changing, so you have to make sure, right, your equipment, your human resources, your employees, are they trained? Have you carried out the training for them? Have you got the right type of people? Right? What sort of training have you carried out? And one of the most important elements is, if you want to be successful, your human resources must be related to the factory, to the organization in what you are doing. Right? Your access to natural resources means raw material. What sort of raw materials are you getting? From where are you getting it? And what are your copyrights? Okay? What are your current processes, your employee programs, your departmental hierarchies, your software? Are you using the latest? Okay? How effective are your computer systems? So all these are your internal factors, and these are all within your control. Organizational control, your management's control. When we are talking about external factors, you see that external factors influence and affect every company, organization, and individual. Whether these factors are connected directly or indirectly to an opportunity or threat, it's important to note the document and document each one. External factors. Remember, look at the change in color of the ink. External factors are typically things you and your company do not control. You do not control them. You cannot. What do you do? Such as the following: market trend, new products, technology, advancement. You can be aware of it. You must adapt it, change it, bring it in. Right? Economic trends. What is changing? Financial trends. Right? Buying power. Funding. How much the banks will help you. Do you have a sample of what you are wanting to do? Do you have a product with you? Can you carry that to the bank and show to the bank manager that this is what we have got? This is how the product is? What we are going to do? If you are in the services, what sort of services are you going to provide? How effectively will the service affect the population? How good are you doing it? Right? What are the demographic, the changes in population? And this is very important, ladies and gentlemen. There are only two groups who have got the buying power today. One, the younger generation. The other, the people who have retired. The senior citizens. Because they have retired, they have finished all what they have been supposed to do. And they have got a lot of money lying in the bank in themselves. So they are cash related people. So we got products that have got, that is going to help these senior citizens? Are we able to do it? Like in Japan. The government itself advises the senior citizens, don't stay in Japan for too long. Get out to countries because the cost of living in Japan is too high. You go down to countries like Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Malaysia, and then a sizable number of Japanese population living here, where they find that what they are going to spend 1 year in their home country, they can spend it here for 3 years. And if they go down to Thailand, they are able to spend it for about 4 years. So they are, for 5 years, they take whatever money they want. The balance they put it in their bank, which runs on interest. And they move around in these countries, they travel, they go on a budget travel, they see, they stay. So you see, this is how. And that is why now their organizations, countries are changing their immigration status, like Malaysia, our second home, a lot of applications they are receiving. Why? Changing trends that are taking place, right? Demographic changes. Then you see a relationship with suppliers and partners. What sort of a relationship are you having with your suppliers? Are they able to give you the raw material that's required? Right? Political environment and economic regulation. All these are not within your control. It is all external. And changes are continuous. Okay? Any questions, please? Before we move on to the next. Right? Anything else? We have. Yeah. Right? Now, I would like you to look at your first paragraph of the next element, and that is strengths describe what an organization excels can do best. Excel means what an organization can do best. And what separates it from its competitors. Wherever there is an organization, you have a competitor. You must know who is your competitor and what is their product. Unless and until you are not aware of it, like what happened to Nokia will happen to you. So, a strong brand. Look at the customers of iPhone. They will hardly change. Right? Let's always say, I do not know whether I am right or whether I heard it right. Mr. Yao can tell me. I am told that a Mercedes man will always remain a Mercedes man. Am I right? No. So that element is wrong. So he will change, is it? Alright. So a Mercedes man. Well, in those days we used to say a Mercedes man is all, because this was the talk, it was a simple thing. What simply just to create the awareness of the brand Mercedes. That Mercedes is associated with high income people and all that, right? So here you see loyal customer base, like your iPhone. Today iPhones are going at about 6,000 ringgit, I think, 7,000 ringgit, right? Yeah, I understand that your 16 or 17 that is coming is going to cost you close to about 8 to 10,000 ringgit. And they are not wanting this iPhone 16 or 17 that is coming. I read it just about 2 weeks ago. They do not want this to be bought by all the people. They want to create now a very strong, loyal base who are repeated buyers. Right? And they only will use iPhone. So that's what they say. That's what they say. This building of a strong brand with a loyal customer base, which they have already done. They are successful. One such brand that are built in Malaysia is the Myvi brand of cars. They have got a very strong loyal base. They have got a very set of loyal customers who keep buying only that brand, find it easy to use, and they are very loyal, right? And what has that led to? Your company's strong balance sheet, unique technology, right? And I don't know much about the technology of these automobiles, but I understand the technology is very unique, which they have got for this organization. Right? Weaknesses stop an organization from performing it. Why? Simply because, as I told you, you get rejects, you have to reoperate it, redo it. The cost is going to be high. You see what is given here at its optimum level. The area where business needs to remain improved to remain competitive. So you are now thinking of the weaknesses will always stop you from progress. So do not that's why I said carry out the analysis. Accept your weaknesses, change it and convert it into a strength. Because the moment you convert it into a strength, you will be able to get your resources. You will be able to move in the right direction. And that is a very important aspect, right? Okay. Now, look at the next one. We are looking at opportunities and threats. And when we are looking at opportunities and threats, what are we looking at? Environmental analysis, ladies and gentlemen. What is environment? Environment is the physical that is surrounding us. What are the changes that are taking place in the environment? You must always understand, because environment is the biggest friend we have that causes all the changes. There are one change in an environment changes the entire concept. Is that clear? And this we will study when you are doing the external environmental analysis. Strategies are built up all the changes that are happening in the external environmental. Because external environmental changes are the ones that are creating opportunities. So when an opportunity is created, you must understand whether you have the capacity and capability of capitalizing on that. Do you have the raw material? Do you have the people? Do you have the machines? Can you convert them? Can you convert it into a product? Right? The opportunity, last line please. Opportunity and threat analysis can also be used. Quality development. Right? What sort of a quality you are going to have is also your required element. Right? External factors analyzed include macroeconomic, technological, political, socio-cultural changes, what is happening to the environment, the demographic changes, what are the requirements. So you see, any change that takes place is related to opportunities. Are you able to capitalize? Right? And look at the threat that comes in along with it. So remember, this has to be carried out all the time, every day, every time. Right? Okay, any questions, ladies and gentlemen? We are about to finish. And we are going to repeat. Now look at your strengths in the next page. Mr. Alex, time already?
Almost 5 more minutes.
How many more minutes?
5 more minutes.
5 more
5
minutes.
more minutes, all right. So we are coming back and we will be doing these 4 elements together. Now look at your strengths again. What are your strengths? Strengths are internal, positive attributes of your company. So these are the things that are within your control. Remember, I told you internal elements are within your control. The 2 elements are your strength and your weaknesses. You must continually analyze this, because why I am telling you is, look at point number 1. What business processes are successful when you have carried out what made it a success? What assets do you have in your team? Knowledge, education, network skills, reputation. How is your organization reputed? Are people looking up to your organization? Are people willing to accept your products? Why is BMW being accepted as the car, and why is it being accepted as the simple? In a BMW, you know how many times the one tire is tested before it is assembled into the vehicle? This is done in their headquarters. 144 times. Each nut and bolt is tested 52 times at different speeds to find out at what speed the nut will break. Because the ductile strength of each bolt and nut. That's where safety comes from. Because any car or any automobile you take, what touches the road? Can you tell me? What touches the road?
Tire.
Yeah. Any automobile, what touches the road? You know? It's only the tires that touch the road. And if the tires are not safe, just, I think 1 month ago there was a case on the highway where the tire came out of a lorry, hit the car, and about 4 or 5 people died, right? Have you noticed that? If that were to happen to a vehicle that is going at 140 or 150 kilometers an hour on the highway and a tire comes out, what will happen to that vehicle? What will happen to that people? We will have to say sayonara to them, isn't it? So, this is why they say the safety part, because it's only the 4 tires that are touching the road. That is why BMW, you pay the price for safety. And it is not an easy element to maintain a BMW, it's very expensive. But still people have it. So you see, what assets? What physical assets do we have, such as customers? Are you carrying out an analysis of your customers? Who they are, where they are, what are they? What is the buying power? How is your product accepted by them? Right? What competitors, what competitive advantages do you have over your competition? Your competitors, what are they doing? Can you overcome? Or are you going to be Nokia for history to be repeated? Or are you going to be Proton? Before the Proton was taken over by Geely, the Chinese company, the company was already dying because the cars were not selling. 20 years the models never changed. Right? Today, GD came, look at how the models have changed. Look at propane, it's becoming a grand success today. All over, even in African countries, they are exporting our cars from here. Right? So, this is it. Attitude, ladies and gentlemen. Your weaknesses. Weaknesses are the negative factors that detract from your strength. Negative element. There are people who will always find fault with whatever you are doing. So are you willing to accept that? Do you want? These are the things that you might need to improve and to be competitive. That's why we always say, understand what your weaknesses are. Do not waste your time on your strengths. Your strengths are already existing. What are your weaknesses? And businesses to be successful, you have to analyze what is your weakness. Because weakness is like a drill. It just goes through and starts eating up a lot of things. But then ultimately it gives you. Right? And you all know it now. Unless you all start working, then you will know what it is. That is why we say, ensure you maintain your weaknesses. You understand what your weaknesses are, eliminate them. In order to eliminate them, you must always ensure that you have carried out your analysis. Acceptance is the only factor. You accept it, you have a solution. You fight it, you will die standing. Right? Are things in that your business need to be competitive? Are you sure you want competition? What sort of competitive business processes need improvement? This is the main area why businesses fail. They don't want to improve. We have given you the example. There are so many organizations like that. Not only Nokia. I brought the example of so many organizations there. Right? Tangible assets the company needs. Money, equipment. What are that you require? Right? Are you having the right equipment? How old are your equipments? Some companies have got equipment that are 20 years old. You can't use them today. Today it is all output. Right? So you have to change. Do you have the money for it? Right? Capital. Are there gaps in your team? Means, have they understood what the mission of the organization is? Have they understood what products you are doing? Understanding that is more important. Okay? That's why I said, understand what earlier I mentioned about organizations must understand what is their business. The more they understand what is their business, you will be able to move and make sure you take control of situations, right? Location ideal for your success. Remember I told you about a company that shut down after 2 years in operation because it was an export-oriented company 120 kilometers away from the nearest port. Look at what happened. Their cost of transportation itself ate into the profits of the organization. So much so, there was a big hole inside. And they had to close down the company. Okay? Look at opportunities, external factors in your business environment that are likely to contribute to your success. Okay? How? Is your market growing? Have you monitored? Have you carried out? Because you have all the records in your accounts department. Have you put it out? Have you checked where your customers are, who your customers are, how effectively they have done? Is your growing? Is the demand for your products growing? How are the orders coming by? From the debts that you have collected, from the account payee, you will have to know. You will know how effectively the money, whether your circle of is growing. upcoming events that your company may be able to take advantage. How is the response? Up and running, do customers think highly of your business? So ladies and gentlemen, these are the opportunities that you have. Now looking at your threats, external factors that you have no control on, you want to consider putting in place a contingency plan. Potential customers, could the future development in technology change? This is the most frightening element in any business. Will technology change? And now let me tell you this. You have to keep monitoring this threat element because technology is constantly changing. Right? Look at IT. Today we already have AI, right? Do you know that today they are using AI in the medical area and they are doing operations externally using robots? That is the advancement that we have. So if you are a company who are dealing in medical equipment and if you are dealing with this, look at the opportunities here. So that is why we said, I have said earlier, understand what is your business. The more you understand, look at the last line, are there market trends that could become a threat? So unless and until you monitor, you won't be able to. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have given you an example of a SWOT analysis. That's for you to look at the whole. And now I have given you a SWOT analysis case study. You will read this case study. It's a very simple case study. Now, the smoothie is a 40-unit, no-frills operation in a less scenic part of a major Queensland resort town. The owner, Mr. Smith, firmly in business that there is a need for a style of low-cost family accommodation amid luxury and beauty of the area. Mr. Smith firmly believes there is a need for his style on low-cost family accommodation. Although there is plenty of room for future expansion, the grounds are fairly bare with a bit of landscaping and mostly grass. Can serve breakfast to the rooms and provide tea-making facilities. Are now a lot of good restaurants and takeaways in the area. Mr. Smith prices are less, half when compared to the motels charge, only a fraction of what the big 5-star properties are charging. And really, he isn't all that far from the beach, shops and other attractions. The problem is occupancy. He has some regulars who come for every holiday period. Have been going on for 4 years when he owned the property. Overall occupancy is about 50% year around. And he knows from the local tourist office that there are other properties averaging around 68%. New developments could be in trouble. Occupancy could be frustrating for Mr. Smith. Cars pull in and drive around parking areas and then drive away. Mr. Smith does very little advertising, the local district guide and holiday papers, mainly because he really thinks the word of mouth is the best way of advertising. He is a member of the local tourist committee, but too busy to go for meetings. However, he does receive the local statistics and knows that the average stay in the area is 3.8 nights and local families. And couples are increasingly overseas visitors and is very potential. He's not desperate yet, but he's getting worried and disillusioned. He thought he would be overrun with guests, but he hasn't happened. So can you do a SWOT analysis of this now? We do a very fast SWOT analysis. Can you? Hot, huh? Cold. Yeah, this is the. Can we do a quick analysis? Because of time constraints. Can we do a quick analysis? What are the strengths that Mr. Smith has? What are the strengths that Mr. Smith has? Okay, let's observe. Okay, instead of going into strength, what are the difficulties or weaknesses Mr. Smith has? Let's analyze that. What is it? What is he having? What is the problem that he is facing? Yes? They'll give it to you there. Third paragraph, first line tells occupancy, right? In any service, hotel related, ladies and gentlemen, you must first understand that the success or failure of any hotel, whether it is a big 5-star or a big 3-star or whether it is a 1-star, the success of any hotel is its occupancy. Right? A occupancy means number of people coming to occupy the rooms. Many people are of the opinion that it is food. No. Food is secondary. It is only third or second or third or fourth in the line. It is the number of rooms that are being used, because number of rooms will tell you how effectively the hotel is doing. So here, if you observe very carefully, Mr. Smith is facing a problem in occupancy. Why is he having this occupancy? The weakness that he has had is, number one, he has not advertised heavily. He is depending on his regular. He is only about 50% is occupied throughout the year. There are new and nobody knows much, and all the people who are coming are all old customers. No new customers are coming. Right? And it is becoming a problem for him. So his weaknesses you must understand. But he has got, for example, he can give a breakfast, he can give. So what is the main area he has to do? For any hotel to succeed, ladies and gentlemen, you must do your advertisement. Get people to talk about your services. Start using the social media and get people to come and buy and stay in your hotel. Provide them and you see, they are saying that really thinks by word of mouth and is the best form. He is only thinking by other people telling about his mistake. No, it won't work. Not many people will be telling about his, talking about his hotel. So he has to use advertisements, talking in the social media, and he will have to overcome. So look at that, right? And the average stay is 3.8 nights. So if people can come and stay for that long, it will be good, right? And the other main area is that he is a bit old-fashioned sort of thing, right? And his hotel is situated near the sea, the shops and all that, right? Encourage more people to come, create some children's play pen and all that, so that the children can be occupied, right? Take them to the seaside. So these are some, go back home, read it again, analyze, you will be able to get all the answers. Are we right, Mr. Alex?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we stop here. Thank you very much, my friends, ladies